All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another one, y'all. All right, y'all, I got to talk about this one as well. Chey Bowers taking on Maritza Sanchez. Hey, Bowers, man, this is another one y'all need to look out for. She was the interim LFA flyweight champion, but she lost a close fight a little while back to Shannon Clark. But in my opinion, I thought that was a fight that could have went either way. But to me, since then, Chey Bowers, I think she's been staying active and she's really been putting her skills together. I think she's built for the ground or the stand-up game. Like, she really is becoming a well-rounded fighter because in this fight, she kind of proved to be a threat in both areas, definitely against Maritza Sanchez. Sanchez, I've seen a few times before, I think on Combate Global, and she's a pretty solid boxer. She was using her boxing throughout this fight to keep Bowers at bay, the long jab, the 1-2. But Bowers, man, she was able to stand with her. She was banging with her until she went straight to her strength, which was the ground. And, that's what I'm always saying. Look, these grapplers, they don't have to be Floyd Mayweather on the feet or Muhammad Ali with the jab. I'm just saying, look, get your basic fundamentals down and run with it. And that's what Chey Bowers is doing. I mean, that girl, she can strike, but when she wants to, she can switch it up. And that's all I'm saying. These fighters, they got to be able to switch it up. Same thing for strikers. Like, strikers, they have to be able to hold their own on the ground or have really, really good takedown defense. But I like what Chey Bowers was doing in this fight. And, I mean, it worked. She got a rear naked choke in the first round over Maritza Sanchez. I mean, this one was a brutal choke just like the Mac Judo one almost. I mean, right from the jump in the first round, these two, they were going at it. Sanchez, she was using her long jab. Some good leg kicks to keep Bowers at bay. But Bowers, she kept coming with a lot of pressure. And Bowers, she was mixing it up. Chey Bowers was mixing up her strikes. She was throwing a good overhand right, throwing up some high kicks here and there. Kind of light on her feet. And that's why I like to see, she's got a high guard as well. She's bouncing around, moving in and out, but she's putting a lot of pressure on Sanchez. Sanchez wanted to keep it standing and keep Bowers at bay, but Bowers was working. She wasn't stopping. She kept coming right in. And then she, backed Sanchez into the cage and then let this barrage go, and they just started exchanging bombs. So I was like, all right, this is about to be a barn burner right here. But Bowers, she moved a little awkward, on Sanchez. She couldn't really get the rhythm down. I like how Bowers, she's switching stances, using a lot of feints, which kept her in position to strike or go for the takedown, which is what she did after faking Sanchez out, making Sanchez think this is going to be like a full stand-up battle. She just dives right in with an easy double leg and pulls her from the cage, wrestles her to full mount, and just from there puts on a grappling clinic. I mean, from full mount, she's landing big shots. Then she goes for the back for the rear naked choke, then raises the leg up and goes for an armbar attempt, but then quickly goes right back to the rear naked choke and locks in that rear naked choke, and Sanchez is tapping. So I'm like, oh, all right, this girl, she's all over the place. She's doing a little bit of everything, and that's what you got to do, right? So big statement made by Chey Bowers. I like it. Moving forward from here, like I said, I've really been seeing a lot of activity and growth from her, a little bit more so than Shannon Clark. I haven't seen Shannon Clark fight since winning the belt. Chey Bowers seems to be a little bit more hungry and busy. And the thing I like about her, like I said, she's well-rounded. She's strong. She's a runner, so she's kind of built for the long fights as well. She's got the stamina. So I can't wait to see her in the UFC, y'all. I mean, let's see if she fights for the title one more time here, or she bags a couple more fights here. But I think, she's about to be UFC ready here soon. Not to contend the series, but I think she could go straight to the UFC. Maybe give her another 2, 3, 4. No, that's too many. Maybe about another 2, 3 fights if, she's feeling like, she needs more. But I think, taking her time and, just putting it all together, you'll see her there pretty soon, because I honestly think she's got a style. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that Chey Bowers has got a style that could give Dakota some problems. So eventually when this new class of flyweights come over to the UFC, if Dakota ever comes over, if Chey comes over, I think Chey Bowers has got a style that could give Dakota trouble, because, she can strike a little bit. She knows how to get out of harm's way. And she can get the fight to the ground. And she's really solid on the ground, too. She's strong, so she has pretty good grappling, and she has some pretty decent striking fundamentals. So I think that that could potentially be a style matchup for her. Let's say if Dakota stays at PFL. Let's say Chey Bowers wants to go over to PFL. That fight could be something over there, But eventually, we all know Dakota's going to go to the UFC. Chey Bowers wants to go there too. So I could wait for that fight. That's a dream fight that I'd like to see one day in the UFC, like maybe 2-3 years from now, because, like I said, they're both still growing. But yeah, shout out to Chey Bowers for doing it again, making a big statement. Maritza Sanchez, pretty good boxer, pretty good stand-up fighters. It's just one of those mistakes. She got to go back to the drawing board and really work on her grappling and her takedown defense. That's all I can really say about her. But yeah, definitely go back and check out this whole card. 217, LFA 217 was pretty solid. Again, I believe that the women's fight on this card were a little bit more exciting than UFC this weekend. UFC Noche, yeah, it was all right. I'm going to talk about this Suarez Lemos fight, but the women's fights over there didn't really deliver like the LFA fights did this past Friday. But check it out, y'all. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.